Here's your buddy Dane Cook, also known as the
Yay.
same type as Shanny's brother.
Yes.
Right? So Shanny has been a Dane Cook fan her whole life. I've seen him around. Wasn't he in movies? I know he's a comedian or was a comedian or is a comedian, and I think he's about our age. But he was around more in the early 90s, right? Then he wasn't.
Right.
Then he wasn't around.
I know.
And now he's popping up on the internet. Turns out he had a big fiasco with some missing information.
I know, right? That's what's interesting about that type would have a lot of missing.
What type is he?
So same exact type as my brother, which is completely ironic. So I don't like comedians in general. I can't stand comedy because usually everybody sucks at comedy, and a lot of times it's like my type where it's like an SC that will just say like inappropriate sexual jokes
Joe Rogan.
that I don't. Yeah, Joe Rogan's
You
a
can't
great
watch
example.
it. It's horrible.
I don't think any of that stuff's funny, and I don't know who does, but it's not me, and it just makes
somebody who's in between jobs.
Dane Cook is like one of the very, very few that I'm like, this guy's funny all the time. And back in the day, like.
Put a little thought into it.
And what's so interesting is that my brother used to get called Dane Cook all the time. They're like,
really?
Okay, you need to go watch Dane Cook. You look like him. You talk like him. You have the same humor
Here's
as
a
him."
picture with Dane Cook and your brother right here.
That's not my brother.
Yeah.
But looks very similar to this. Like, he has that kind of similar.
So which one's the real Dane Cook here?
They're both Dane Cook.
So what's going on here?
It looks like a little too much filler or Botox? Question mark. Probably some filler. Probably shouldn't have done that.
Let me set it up here. So these two, I keep seeing them all over my TikTok. So eventually I got to go chase them down.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't like them, but you watch them hundreds of times. You're like, okay, I kind of like them. So they're doing this podcast with them. And these two are very EP-like. These two are very NE-like, ENFPs, possibly, allegedly. I'll figure it out over time, right?
Yeah.
So they're listening to him. They're having a really good conversation because if they're all lead NE, they're all double deciders and single
It's
observers.
a smart conversation that bounces
As
around.
well as they're all fascinated with this problem because they all suffer with this problem.
Right.
So the general overview is like his brother was managing his money for many, many years and then ended up just purposely fucking it off. Didn't make a mistake, but
No,
like
he stole money from him.
stealing it.
Yeah, he was stealing money.
So much so the taxes got really upset.
And before we get into this, like, the definition of a demon function is you're just not going into that dark closet.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what happens is mold grows in there.
Right.
You don't go check on that.
Right, yes. And sometimes it takes 10 years.
Yes.
All right,
my
so
God.
hold on. We'll play the clips and have a good goddamn laugh at observers.
So I wake up on a Monday morning. This is what's really crazy about it is that on
change
the
the channel,
Friday
damn it.
I love my brother. I really did.
Hey.
He was my
Stay
first
on.
real best friend in my life, and I wrote him a letter on the Friday because I knew he was a little trepidatious about me moving the business. I told him, hey, it's
Don't
going to be
tell
all
me
right. Everything's going to be great. I've got some new ideas. I think I know how to come back with a Rocky II moment.
Don't give me analogies.
And he wrote to me on that Friday, and the last 3 words he ever said is my brother. He said, to the future. And then Monday I woke up and I literally sat up in my bed, turned to my girlfriend, woke her up, and I go, I think my brother stole all my money.
You just had this.
How did you know?
Yeah.
How did you know?
Because you have intuition at the top.
I
That's
know,
how
right?
you fucking knew.
But it's weird, like with the demon sensory at the bottom, I know I have that, where it's like my sensory will like tell me things at night. And not so much right now, but like when I go through things in life, like my dreams and my sleep is very crazy and reckless and topsy-turvy. And like
Yeah.
it'll be bringing me information that's in the sensory. So like, for example, for a lot of people, it's not even an example. I just say that word just so you think I'm going to give an example, but I won't.
Just don't give an overview.
Anyways, let me give you an overview. For example, people with demon intuition, they're like, oh, I woke up one night and I was putting together the patterns. Like, oh, that makes sense. And most people can relate to that.
Yeah.
But it's like, as an observer, being a very close type as him,
Yeah,
having
right.
demon masculine side at the bottom, it's like, I'll be like, I did see something. But like I didn't register it. I didn't fully process it. Yeah. Like it'll be something weird. Like sometimes I'll be like going by somewhere and like somebody will have like a Spider-Man action figure on the shelf and I'll just like glance at it real quick. But like my brain is like, I wanted to process that. I wanted to think about that. And then like,
But it like puts it in a dark closet.
and then at night I'll just have all these crazy dreams about
Yes.
this Spider-Man thing or something that I saw.
I think because a lot of things had added up, and my new business manager that I just hired, he was also getting pushback from my brother to send the materials that
Like transfer things over.
And it was even my new business manager was like, this is really off kilter. Usually people will send me, and it hit me. And I went down to Bank of America on the corner of Crescent Heights and Santa Monica, and I went in. I talked to the manager. She brought me into her office, and basically it was like, yeah, there's nothing in your corporate accounts. And I couldn't even get into my own accounts. I gave her my federal ID number. She goes, none of these work. He'd given me false. Yeah, I'd never looked in my bank.
Okay.
I'd never looked. I just trusted him.
I never
looked there.
He just said it.
Okay, so I know we have more clips, but like observers, like it is just I didn't look there.
I looked in my bank.
I didn't. No, you don't. I look in your bank. Like I never looked
I just trust
there.
you.
Good.
I saw you look in my bank.
Yeah.
Should I be worried?
It is. Yeah.
I'm gonna have dreams.
No. Oh my God. What the hell? Like it is with the observation problem. For me, what is it with the deciders? Like I need to actually be honest with myself. And I see that with every single decider. The problem is we are all very hypocritical and we are not very honest with our own selves, where our standing is in the tribe.
I think it's the same mechanics with these damn observers.
I wouldn't look there.
And therefore, I think so he would be somebody that I would off the cuff unofficially call like a super double decider. And I think I have this problem as well, where it's like, no, there's no problem with people ever. Let me finish.
Okay,
there's no problem with people at all. Ever. I can get by anybody. I'm the homeless guy. You're on the team, buddy. We're great. And the problem is there are some people that are problematic. You're like, no, it's fine, bro. Put the pressure on me. I'm masculine TI, double FE. Everybody's great.
But it's like,
no, you actually do have somebody on the team that is a serious problem. And he's like, but I could roll through it. I don't want to look there.
Right.
And then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, fuck, I knew that was... I knew I was not looking there.
What? Okay, so what? Like, who next? Like, you talk to the businessman, your current businessman. You're like, so what do we do? Like, what do you do? Call the FBI?
So I called the Attorney General's office of Massachusetts. I knew a lot of those people because I'd done so many
people, friends
shows,
with people.
And I called them and I said, listen, I said, you're going to want to find my brother. I said, not only because of what he's probably stolen from me, I said, but probably what he's stolen from the state. And then they were like, we're on
ding,
it.
Ding, ding, yeah.
And so they got him. They arrested him and his wife. And I ended up having to go into court a year later and read what is known as a victim impact letter.
It is known as this weird little SI paperwork. This weird SI paperwork, it is known as impact letter.
That's
right?
specific, very specific.
And just another thing with the observers, like trying to evolutionarily survive. It's like, because we fuck off the information so much, it's why we will bend over backwards to stay friends with people. That's really, and I think that's like almost conscious to most observers. I think if you really talk to any observer, they're like, I have to stay friends with this crazy person because when I lose my car keys, who do I call?
Okay, so that's how on my side, like double observing, that is why I am careful with money. That is why I'm careful with things, and I don't mess up my computer. I don't fuck with my printer. I don't fuck with my lights. I don't fuck with my cameras.
Because you may have to do it all alone.
I'm so good with my things. Like I would protect them for years.
Is it because of the fear of you would have to do it alone?
1,000%. I will not talk to people, and I'm one of the worst because I have blast last. I'm like, I refuse to go and have a conversation, and that is a huge problem for me. I will Tom Cruiser spend months learning that skill and do it myself.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a movie moment. It was really unbelievable.
And he's sent to prison?
Yeah. I sent him to, actually, he was before he worked for me, he was a corrections officer. He was at the prison I sent him back to.
What?
I hired him and got him out of the jail to work for me. I made him quit and said, I know I'm a working road comic. I go, but I will figure out a way to get an umbrella and get your, because I knew he was getting a lot from the state, protection or dental and blah, blah. Yeah. So it's weird because that was he quit the prison to come help his little brother. What did I do? I worked harder because now I got to make
it's like a response. It's like having a kid.
So would I go back and change any of this? Zero. Literally everything was something that led to a more fortunate situation for me.
That is what's crazy is like he's telling the story hindsight and he's like, oh yeah, just let me slip this in. Like, by the way, I'm glad this all happened. I'm sure he feels bad for his brother, but he's like, this only ended up being good for me.
And that is 1,000% just somebody with growth mindset. Like that's nothing to do with his type, because a lot of times this type would be like, fuck everyone, I'm not going to do that again, and I'll move backwards. He's like, I'm happy that this negative, bad thing happened because I got stronger, I grew from it. Like, holy shit, like that. If you can amplify that in your life, that's like David Goggins. If you can amplify that attitude in your life, then it doesn't matter that the worst thing in your demon functions happened.
Essentially, I'm guessing here, but what motivated him was greed, right? He just had access to it. Entitlement.
That's what the judge said, and I felt it. And seeing him and looking at him that day in the courtroom was surreal. Because he looked like a shark. He just had dead, nothing eyes. Nothing. No emotion. I didn't look at a person who I knew. I was looking at a stranger. We had different dads. Different dads, same mom, different
There
dads.
you go. That explains it.
Telling you.
Is that right?
There's a lot to that. Yeah.
Was his dad a psycho?
Psycho. Yeah. The whole family had impact disorder.
Wait, had what?
Different impact disorders.
What is from?
Like people who don't know any kind of his dad one time in a movie theater, the kid behind them wouldn't stop talking. He turned, he smacked a stranger's kid. That's impact disorder. It's like people that don't know, like, oh no, there's a decorum with how you treat each other.
Yeah.
So they all had some bad DNA.
Okay, this is something to really pay attention to with the human species. This is just how we are wired. We are all racist in some way, shape, or form. And I don't mean that literally. I mean that like kind of tribalist. It's like you'll see this always. The tension of, oh my God, your brother did something horrible. And then there's a drive that we have to make him a monster.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Oh, he has bad DNA. He's Italian. He's Republican.
Yeah.
He had a different dad. He has, I love this word, impact disorder. Oh, no wonder. It's somebody from the other team, the other tribe. And you can see the relief And all 3 of them were like, oh, thank God he has a different dad. Thank God he has a disorder. So this isn't having to do with me or us, or it's not that I would do that or I would do something like that in a situation because it has nothing to do with me.
Right, because quickly, if it was same parents, right, automatically they have to be like, are you secondborn?
Right.
Is he firstborn? Oh, it's firstborns.
Right.
Like so fast, they would have had to find some fake reason in order to shove it on that.
Right.
Otherwise, they will now feel that way about Dane.
When you blame outward of, oh, it's the Republicans, it's like you don't get a chance to stop and do the best kind of self-growth and go, wow, this is really crazy. That guy's a fucking nut. Glad he's in jail, whatever. Then you go away and you're like, what's my situation? Where am I doing that to others in my life? Or some form of that. I don't mean that literally censor.
Yeah, maybe you're not stealing from somebody, but are fucking someone over with your
You
saviors.
are, or you will be, the bad guy in lots of people's movies in the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
His wires are crossed, basically.
His wires were definitely crossed.
And had you seen, did you, any indication that growing up, like, I don't know, Timmy's kind of fucking...
Yeah, and like later, I could look back and be like, oh, shit, okay, that was that
You put it together,
cold,
yeah.
a sociopath is somebody who, they're like chameleons. They know how to become what you are. Or I don't know what just happened.
Nothing at all, Dane.
I don't know.
Keep talking.
I don't like that.
They can be anybody. Go ahead. Loving
Okay.
fathers, comedians, podcasters.
Who do you want me to be?
Will you be my brother? Of course.
Oh,
Can I manage your accounts again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So continue. So he would be whoever. So he was like your.
So I put him in jail.
Your bestie.
Who do you want me to be? I just love that.
You just can't go too far with these guys.
I know, double decide.